Hello everyone, and welcome to the Future of Dogs podcast, a place for the whole dog world to come together and ask the big why and what if questions that will shape the dogs of the future. Join me, Hannah Malloy, as we chat to some of the world's most groundbreaking professionals intent on enriching and evolving the future of dogs. This podcast is in association with Amplified Behaviour, my online video learning library for dog owners and dog geeks. Big thanks to my dog's favourite food and our Season 1 sponsor, Nature's Menu. With over 40 years in the pet food business, Nature's Menu is Europe's leading expert in raw and natural pet food. So, let's jump into the conversation. Welcome to the Future of Dogs, and this is the Future of Vets, Part 2. And today I have with me an absolute pleasure to have Dr Lennon Foo. Last time, Lennon, we were talking about a little bit of your what ifs, what the veterinary industry looks like right now, and the two topics that you really want to improve. Number one is the mental health of vets and empowering them to be people-oriented in the way that they do their job to improve their mental health. And the other was to really look at the guardian's relationship and what if we could take pets to the vets when they're healthy and stop them from getting sick in the first place? What if pets trusted vets and what if guardians trusted vets? So tell us a little bit more, Lennon, about your background. Like, how is it that you have this passion? Where did it come from?
Thanks for the question. It's a very interesting question. I believe it's a mixture of personal circumstances and also just the situation that you're seeing around. So personal circumstances comes from, I'm from Singapore and I've lived there all my life before coming to the UK to study to be a vet in London back in 1999 and qualified in 2004. After failing 3 times, it wasn't an easy road. And because of being an international student, I was paying full tuition fees. So obviously I had to repay that back as well. So I understood that, I have to make money somehow to pay back those fees, having got the privilege of having discounted home fees, so to speak. Then after that, being a vet for quite some time, then the present thing is that I keep seeing depression everywhere. Attrition, people stop being vets. A lot of my friends are not vets anymore. And unfortunately, also suicide. It's like I know 4 senior vets who have taken their lives already, and an RV and a vet nurse as well. So it's not just vets; it's also affecting the wider population of the vet profession, the vet nursing as well. And for me, it fascinated me. I'm like, how on earth? Why? Because the reality is when you tell people that you're a vet, most people go, cool, I always wanted to be a vet. Then I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you say that, but look at the whole profession, right? If everybody is so cool, I want to be a vet. Yeah. Why is the vet profession going through depression, attrition, suicide, and things like that? It's like, okay. Yes. So that's a little bit weird. And so I wanted to do something to contribute back to the profession that I love, really. Yeah. And so that is my sort of overriding circumstances in the situations that I've been exposed to. Sure. Personally, I started a business. I started Amity Vets back in 2017. And I realized, as many vets do, or maybe it's just me, I know nothing about business at all. So I like to think that I'm a pretty good vet, but I actually know nothing about business. And that was the first wake-up call. Is like, just because I'm a good vet doesn't mean I can run the practice. Yeah, and that is where I deep dive into to learn more about business, to actually keep the business going and to learn how to run a business. And that is where I naturally went into finance. Okay, and because that's where we realized that finance is actually a topic that is not taught anywhere else. Back in 1905, Rockefeller took it off the syllabus. And since then, people have been living in poverty since. Wow. You can be an expert, you can be a doctor, a lawyer, in your 40s like myself and be at top of the game and actually still be broke. So that is also not uncommon. So naturally went to finance. Then with that, naturally, I delve into success. What is the difference? Why do some people succeed, some people don't? And with that as well, you naturally go into personal development, whereby learning about yourself, learning about gratitude, learning about why do people do what? Just human behavior, or you can call it psychology, or you can call it self-development. You must understand yourself. What was fascinating to me after reading a lot of books over, short span of sort of 2 to 3 years, because I've never ever read any book outside vet medicine for like 10, 12 years.
I bet you haven't had time, surely.
Yeah, I just didn't have the interest because I didn't even have the awareness of the things that I wasn't aware of.
Sure.
So after reading all those books in a short space of time, what I found extremely interesting is that they all have a common factor. They all have the common types. They all have a common steps to become good at what it is, whether it is personal development, success, a business, or finance. It's all the same thing. As in, you can take a business book and take away the business word and put in the word success. And so how you succeed in your business is how you succeed in success. How you view finance is how you view yourself. Mm-hmm. So they're all interlinked, and I found it very, very fascinating. And that is where Socrates said, it's not learning new things. It's learning is remembering. It's actually going more back to, it's not new things that you learn. It's actually remembering of what you have forgotten. Like the word education is from the Latin word educare, which means to draw out, not to put in. So education really is all knowledge leads to self-knowledge. Bruce Lee said that. It's what you can draw from yourself, what you've forgotten, rather than these are new insights that you have to learn. It's not that we actually knew how to do that already. It's just over life and things like that. Things took over, circumstances took over, the social norms, dogma. They actually occluded a lot of your own wisdom, your own understanding of yourself. And if you actually knew the understanding of yourself, man, you'll be powerful beyond words, beyond imagination. And that is why I created that natural power course, to be able to draw the natural power from you inside, not me teaching you more. It's just helping people to remember. And all those ideology is not original. And even those people that I read it from, is also not from them. It's all going back to the very, very past. It's very, very basic fundamental rules that we have all forgotten. And once you understand that, then life is a jolly. It's like the Matrix. It's like the Matrix. You start seeing everything in green lines, because you've taken the red pill, not the blue pill. And it's like, life is a doddle. Now you know the rules. Then you can start winning the game. You can't win a game if you do not know the rules.
Yeah.
And so once you understand that is fun. So anyway, that's where I come to right now. I'm like, okay, I want to contribute back to the profession that I love. That's given me so much. I just refuse to accept the stats. And that is why I'm doing what I'm doing really.
I love it. I often encourage people to look at children and the way that children behave, because in that same way, isn't it, that children they haven't unlearned, or they haven't learned to stop asking big questions, or experiencing joy, or experimenting. I like the mindset, not childish, but childlike, I think, in the way that we explore the world. I think there's a lot to be. So in that same way, just drawing that child's perspective back out again. I absolutely love it, Lennon. Actually, we've got that in us. You're gonna love this.
So I've been told that adults are deteriorated children.
Deteriorated children.
Adults are deteriorated children.
Yeah, we had it all, didn't we, when we were little? And then we made it all really complicated unnecessarily with social norms and fear and stuff.
Exactly. Social media and things like that. And the illiterate for the 21st century is not those who can't read and write. It's those who can't learn, unlearn, and relearn quick enough.
Oh, that's so good. I've got a little quote on my desk actually that says, "What am I unlearning today?" Because I think that's really useful, isn't it? We do need to keep challenging. And in the field of behaviour, that's easy for me to play with, because I've got all of these tools of how did I learn this stuff in the first place, and what can I do to unlearn some of this stuff. But, not everybody has access to those kinds of tools. So what kinds of tools do you deliver at the moment? Obviously, Lennon, you're still a full-time vet. You're still running a practice. What's your offer to the world right now? How can people access your knowledge and your wisdom and find out more about what you do?
So first of all, before I even talk about offering my knowledge, understand that it's not my knowledge. It is just there already. And it's nothing I say is going to be original. Nothing I say is original. It is there already. It's just realizing that just like how anybody would be. So if they go through my course or anybody's course, what they realize is that they're not being taught new thoughts that they didn't know. It's more of reminding them of what you knew already. But most people, they know what to do, but they don't do what they know. The question is why.
Yeah.
So where my source was from all the different books that I've read, there's so many great authors out there. And what I did was I just compiled all their techniques into a short little 6-week course that is accessible to without reading all those books again. And that is what I've produced right now already. So it's a 6-week online course. It's called a Natural Power course. If you Google Amity Natural Power course, you can probably find that. But secondly is we also know that, there's so many courses out there. What is the difference? So the other part of where I teach is actually my team. So we have to be in an environment. The environment is a huge factor to know whether you're going to succeed in anything you're going to try different or not. So with my team, that's where I spend the most energy on to build my team really. The better they do, the better I do. I always say, Amity is a bad practice. However, our greatest achievement is the people that we have created over here that have changed and grew with us. So those two aspects. So it's either work at Amity or attend the Natural Power course. It's one of those two that where I'm currently giving right now. On top of that, I do write a few books as well. So the latest book, which I have, is going to be published early next year. It's called Vet for Life. And that is sharing with vets all the non-clinical aspect, what we call the critical non-essentials that you need to know to be able to thrive and not just survive in this amazing profession.
It is an amazing profession. And I just love that. And tell us a little bit more about Amity Vets, Lennon. Like, what is it that and we can't all live in Devon. I wish I could live in Devon. It's beautiful and well, Jal, that you're down there. But if you do live in Devon, you can go to Amity Vets. What is it about Amity Vets as a model that is different maybe to other vets? And what would you encourage other vets to kind of pursue that you do differently?
Thanks for the question. So, down to the core is coming back to learning that we are embracing humanity through veterinary medicine. Okay, we have to get out of our ego to get into the customer's ego to find out what they want. And that is what I like to think that we are good at. We solve problems. Okay, our core purpose is to empower you through education. So yes, we are a vet practice, but what we want to do is really empower the pet guardian with more informed decisions in a way such that they understand it. Then they make their own decisions because it's their decisions, it's their animal. They shouldn't be passing on this power to somebody else because they are the pet's CEO. Many people, they bring the pets to the vets and they're like, I haven't got a choice. You're a vet, you tell me what to do. It's going to cost X amount and I have to do what you tell me to do. That's not necessarily true. Because the reality is most vets, they do not want the responsibility as well. Because it's not my pet. I can tell you to do ABC, but you have to choose which choice you're going to go. And together you as a pet guardian and me as your vet, we will come up with the best solution for your little animal.
Amazing.
So to speak. So we spend a lot of time understanding the fears, the desires, the dreams of each individual pet guardian and see what we can do best to help them more on top than just helping symptoms to go away in their pets. Okay. We certainly give more time as well. Our standard consults are half an hour. So that time is needed to be able to ask relevant questions to get relevant results. More importantly, we aim to make each interaction transformational, not transactional.
Love it.
Transactional is I give you X amount of money, you help me do something, that's it. But we want to make sure that each pet guardian, they walk out of the place feeling a better version of themselves because we've empowered them. So it is, that's what I like to think that we aim out to do because as our motto says, family matters. Family matters.
Absolutely. I know I've been to your veterinary surgery and like you have a totally different vibe when you walk in through the door. Actually, the staff are really super friendly. You have really well trained staff, Lennon, and little things like each of your pet guardians has like a little mug, don't they? Like so they really are family. They really feel at home in your environment. And I think you can tell that you've really thought about the little things that help people and pets to just feel a lot more at home throughout that consultation. And I think it's absolutely champion what you're doing, to be honest with you.
Thank you. But please don't take what I say as gospel. Read our reviews. They are a much more better reflection of what we are trying to portray. Our brand, a brand is basically what somebody else says about you behind your back. So don't listen to what I say. Check out the reviews because you get a real answer over there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And I love your heart to be like, you know what, nothing that I do is new. But then there's nothing new under the sun, is there, Lennon? Like I teach dog body language as that's my bread and butter. It's my favourite thing to educate people on. Many other people teach people about dog body language, but they don't teach it the way that I teach it. And I'm sure that people could go on a million different kinds of empowerment courses, Lennon, but they're never going to learn it the way that they would learn it with you. I love your heart for humility there, but I'm going to disagree with you on the basis that actually, if you're working with Lennon, you are getting something completely fresh and new because you took the time to compile all of that knowledge and put it in one place. So thank you for that. I wonder if you can close our part 2 with just some tips. I'm going to go into the vet aspect here, if that's all right, because I just think that is really fascinating. I can't help but think of one of my heroes in animal behaviour was a vet, actually, Dr. Sophia Yin. She was an amazing vet behaviourist, and she did loads of videos that I still watch, and teaching people how to handle different species. And she had the smiliest face, and she was the kindest woman. And I used to watch her videos on handling and just see this incredible woman who gave space for other people. And you know what? It's only recently that I discovered that she lost her life due to suicide. So yeah, again, it hurts my heart at depth in the same way to think that you can have such a heart for pets and, you know, work so hard to improve the world and yet still come out of that with a severe mental health crisis that goes undiagnosed. And so if you can give us 5 tips for vets that might improve their mental health? I might be digging into your new book here a little bit, and apologies if we are, but I think that would be really useful.
I can give you some tips. I don't know if it's 5.
Okay.
I think firstly, just interestingly to understand, suicide is more common in men than in women.
Okay,
even as vets. So the examples that I can think of my seniors who have ended their lives, they were all men. Okay, so I think that itself is a telling sign to say that, okay, why that? And it well could be that because maybe it's stereotypical, it's hard to say, really. It's environmental, it's social, it's cultural, that men don't tend to voice out their issues more often. And whether you're a man or woman, if you don't voice it out, it is very hard to hold everything in and pretend everything is okay.
Yeah.
So I suppose the first tip which I can give is understand yourself. Mm-hmm. Know what sort of person you are and understand that you are not alone in this world. And sometimes, so many times, when you hear something like that and you just ask, especially with a personal friend, you're like, why didn't you call for help? Why didn't you ask? Why? It's like we actually didn't know that happened until it happens. So that is one. To understand yourself, because when you understand yourself, you can improve your communication. And communication is so important, which we're never taught.
Yeah.
How to communicate, not with other people, and more importantly, work with yourself. If your communication is very, very poor with yourself, you manage to convince yourself that ending your life is better than living, then that is very, very hard, Yeah. So, and I certainly don't pretend to be expert in this, but communication, knowing yourself is very important. The second one is having clarity and focus. Most people actually do not know what they want. If they do not know what they want, then they spend a lot of time doing a lot of things that they actually may not want in the first place. And hence, a lot of time and energy is wasted when all of us are actually capable of such amazing, beautiful things if we knew exactly what we wanted and aim towards it. So focus and clarity. If you focus properly, you know exactly what you want, and that does take some time to discover, even, but the thing is, you ask that question, what do you actually want? Rather than just, there's a big difference between living and merely existing, because most people, they are half asleep in a day and half awake at night, and they wonder why they're tired. It's time passes you by so quickly. It's like you eat, sleep, go to work, shower, rinse, repeat, and before you know it, 1 day is gone, 1 week is gone, 1 month is gone, and 1 year is gone, and 10 years is gone. And your next week's doing or to do becomes last week done or not done. Time is so fast, and unless you are focused, you wouldn't know what's happening really. The third thing, and I suppose these are all tips of how not to burn out, or maybe help with stress, so to speak. The third thing is to, without something random, focus on others. It is not so much that focus on others, you don't take care of yourself. It's more of, because you want to take care of others, you have to take even better care of yourself. Understanding that, because you cannot help others if you cannot help yourself. So understand, but the thing is, many people, they don't like to focus on themselves. They think it's too much, I'm not that important. Or it's okay, fine, focus on others. It's for others that you need to keep yourself healthy. So then most people, they do more for others than they do for themselves. So if you just use that little hack, really, to say that actually, you're keeping yourself healthy and sane, not for yourself, it's for other people. Other people still need you, and sometimes that does keep on going. And this is not referring to burning out because you're helping so others, you're not taking care of yourself. Totally opposite. Do not misquote me. The fourth one is, I suppose, rest. Learn how to rest properly. And like I said, some people, they are half awake at night and half asleep in the day because they don't know what they want, and they just let life live them rather than them living life. So it's decisions, not conditions, make your destiny. What sort of decisions do you make? It's not the conditions you're in. It's what decisions you make to do that. Are you who you choose you are, or are you what happened to you? So many people, they just like to shift the blame. It's not my fault. I was born like this. I had a poor childhood. I didn't have education. I'm too old. I'm too young. I've got too little money. I've got too much money. I've got all these commitments. I got no commitments. It's always somebody else's fault. And we always think, lame people blame people. So learn how to take responsibility for yourself in how you live. And if you're awake, do what you want to do when you're awake. When you're asleep, you sleep with purpose, because your reason for being awake is so important that you learn how to sleep with purpose so you can do what you need to do when you're awake again.
Come on, love it.
So it sounds a lot, but it's really, really basic. Any child would know that. That's the beauty of it. But somehow we just forgot these sort of things.
It's hard, isn't it? It is hard. And I think actually you did do 5 there, Lennon, because number 5 would be there to learn how to take responsibility. So just to go back and for our listeners and just summate those, we had number 1, understand yourself and learn how to communicate. Now that is huge, isn't it? That is a very large topic, but there is something there about, really understanding self-talk and learning how to speak to yourself with love, and remembering that you are worthy of love and connection, and that we all are actually. Number 2 there was just clarity and focus, really deciding on what your purpose is and living a purpose-driven life, and really just pushing into some life goals. And again, many of us might take a couple of years to figure out what that might look like, but unless you set aside time, I think, to really be intentional about saying, hold on, what do I want? Like, what am I trying to achieve here? Even if that is, what I want to earn 50 grand by the end of this year, fine. That's absolutely fine. You want to set a fiscal goal? Absolutely fine. I want to be the biggest specialist in bird behavior in the universe. Absolutely fine. But set a goal, because without a goal, you're just continuing. And Number 3 that Lennon brought to our table was to focus on others, especially if you have a hard time focusing on yourself. It can be a good motivator to say, if you are other-centric and you are focusing on making other people happy, sometimes investing a bit of time in self-care is the only way to get that done, isn't it? It's putting your gas mask on first. Number 4, Lennon encouraged us to learn how to rest well. Gosh, that's not an easy thing to do, is it? You met me a couple of years ago, Lennon, and I was stepping into a sabbatical. So this is how we started having these bigger conversations, because I was saying, I want to have a month without a to-do list. I need to know who I am without a to-do list. And it's really uncomfortable. But it was something I needed to learn how to do. I read a really great book I can highly recommend called How to Ruthlessly Eliminate Hurry. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. Super encourage you to read that if you want to learn how to rest. And number 5 was to take some responsibility, actually to decide to say, I am the change factor in my life. I'm going to choose to be a powerful person. I know a lot of this can be quite, can be framed in a very sort of like pitchy, coachy, uncomfortable place for many people, actually, when they talk about like, yeah, powerful, success, da la la, but actually genuinely deciding that you have an impact on the world around you and that you can take responsibility for the choices that you make, and that blame shifting is just going to get you into a horrible victim hole you'll never get yourself out of. Really, that's super important. So if you do identify with those bits and pieces, those top 5 tips are a really good place to start. Maybe just to get some people around you, build your team, build people you can talk to. Anything else, Lennon, you would suggest if you know that you're talking directly right now to people in the vet team that are like, Lennon, I understand, and this is really painful. What do I do?
First of all, this is continuing on what you said. Everybody's important. Just imagine this, that you are the product of your grandparents not dying in the war, dying of malaria. The fact that you even exist, how much chance is that? They survived the war, they survived malaria, they survived the Black Death, they survived all the people who didn't survive, to culminate in your grandparents, your parents that met, and after that, your parents got pregnant, and there's so many things that can go wrong between the fertilized egg and a baby, and yet despite all the odds, you survive. So have no doubt that you're as unique and as amazing, as a miracle as anybody in this world could be. So if God had given you that, are you still in any doubt that you have got a special place in the world to give a special gift? So, I mean, the chances of you being alive, that itself is amazing. Yeah. So have no doubt that you are here to give something. The question is what? And that is what you have to slowly find out and discover. Could it be like what you say, teaching or whatever? Your influence, your impact is important. So understand that you are important. And secondly, I suppose decisions, not conditions, make your destiny. So know that how you do anything is how you do everything. So it just takes little changes in habit. There's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Love it.
Highly recommend it. A little change may not, it's just a little change, but it does change, it reaffirms what sort of person you want to be. And slowly become that. So don't think of major changes and get frustrated because you're not there yet. And most people, this is important, most people, they overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years.
Wow.
So look further because you're there.
So good. It's so good, Lennon. You and I could talk about this all day. It's just a fascinating topic. And I'm sure you guys who are listening are like, I get it. I get why she's picked this particular gentleman to come on and talk to us about the future of vets, because sure, it's not specifically dog focused, but I think it is actually. Dogs are so sensitive to our emotional journey and they walk with us and they experience most of what we experience on a day-to-day basis. practice. And when it comes to their relationship with the vet, something that I definitely want to help to improve. And I do a little course called Above and Beyond Vet Care, which just teaches vets about dog body language and how to train pets to stand for veterinary procedure. Because I really believe that vets should not have to deal with being bitten all the time, and they shouldn't have to have such a tough time. And there's a lot that can be done, and you guys just don't get taught that for some strange reason in vet school. So that's how we sort of started to work together. But absolutely fascinating, Lennon. So we can catch up with you, can't we, and find out a little bit more about what you do by heading over to www.drlennon, that's a double N, LENNONFOO, drlennonfoo.com. And we can find out more about you there. And have you got any social tags, Lennon? How can we find you on the medias?
On not all social tags, but most social tags are Facebook, LinkedIn. You can certainly find me there and just follow me from there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Lennon Foo, for giving us the time today. And hopefully we will get to hang out with you again when your new book comes out. We would love to hear more about that. And in the meantime, for all of you listening at home, I just encourage you to keep dreaming big and keep asking those what if questions that will change the world. That's all from us at The Future of Dogs.